Hey, everybody. Welcome to Anthony Johnson Speaks, the podcast where we talk about relationships, health, and wealth. Today, we are talking about keeping that connection in your relationship, potentially when you're either in a long distance relationship or you're in the military, your partner is in the military, and you have some connection issues or challenges when your partner is deployed. So first off, welcome to the show. Thank you for listening, and please hit the subscribe button. So introduction kind of sort of is, are you in a relationship where your partner is frequently away, or are you part of a couple, or maybe even you're the person that is in the military and you are deployed? How do you keep that connection going? What kinds of things do you do? What kinds of things does your partner do so that you kind of feel connected even though you're physically not with them? So you want to have like the emotional connection, right? You want to talk to them. You want to let them know how you feel. You want to find out how they feel. And you want to kind of try to comfort them, help them feel safe, help them feel like they can trust in the relationship, even though you may not be there. So communication strategy is probably a really big one, right? Are you using emails? Are you sending care packages? Are you using video calls every time you make a call? Are you sending text messages? Are you leaving voicemails? And no matter what method you're using to communicate with your partner or your spouse, how are those effective? What does your partner get from those messages or those calls? Are they things that make them feel safe and connected and trusting and like you are being honest, right? I think that's the thing that we want to do. And often we feel like as long as we communicate and we say something or we send something, that's enough to help the other person feel that we still love them, or we even still like them, or we want to be in a relationship with them. And I think we kind of have to look a level deeper than that and say, what am I doing? What am I saying? How am I saying it? And am I making this person feel loved? And am I making this person feel connected with? And would this be something that I want to hear coming from my partner? You know, listen to what you're saying or think about what you're saying and then think about what you want to hear. And in a lot of cases, if we want to hear certain things, our partner wants to hear certain things, right? So if you just flip that around and start to use that and start to do that more and more, you may notice some changes. And at the same time, maybe they will start communicating with you a little bit differently because now they hear something different in your voice, in your emails, in your video calls that they're not used to hearing. And now suddenly they feel a little more trusting, a little more safe, a little more connected. And as time goes on, that connection builds. So look at the time differences. Think about the weather. Where is your partner? What is the weather like? How are they feeling at the time that you're calling? Is it something that is very convenient for them? Or is it like a stolen moment that really needs to be quick? You don't have a lot of time to say what you're thinking and feeling. And if that's the case, you really got to think about it, right? You really got to make that short time frame valuable. What can I say in 3 minutes that is really going to be valuable, that is really going to let this person know that I love them, that I'm connected with them, that I am 100% dedicated to this relationship? And if you're in a situation where you're not away from the person often, or you have like situations where you can do a date night, then you want to do the same thing. You want to communicate, be loving, be honest, be open, allow them to feel that you're connected with them. And of course, most certainly, if you're in a situation where you're delivering that and they're not returning that, you may want to ask them about it. A lot of times we're saying something to someone and they're not picking up on it. They're not getting it because they're not really listening to you. They're just kind of like listening, right? They're not hearing what you're saying. They're not hearing what you're trying to put across. They're thinking about 1,000 other things. Where are my bags? When am I going home? It's really hot here. It's really cold here. I just slept on the floor. I only got 2 hours of sleep last night. So if you notice that they're maybe drifting away or they don't seem focused or they don't seem like they're really paying attention, ask them what's going on. I think we tend to get into situations like that, right? We're sitting there and we notice something and we don't say anything, or we just notice what we're experiencing and then we get unhappy, we get angry, and we immediately go to, oh, this person doesn't love me. This person doesn't care about me. This person is not listening to me. And I think what we need to do is think about the relationship, think about that person, think about the situation that they're in, put ourselves in that position, and then sometimes just take a little leap. Just take a little extra step on your part and say, even though this situation is not going exactly the way I intended or exactly the way that I would like, what can I do to perhaps help this person feel better? What can I do to help this person be more aware? And I think it's asking them what's going on, what they like, what they want, what they need, how you can be there for them versus getting upset, jumping to conclusions and creating stories in your mind, right? That's what we do. We tend to not communicate what we're thinking and feeling. And then that leads to us creating stories. And then the stories that we create in our mind lead us to emotions. And that shows to our partner. So if you've been in a relationship with someone for any length of time, years, they're going to pick up on what you're returning to them. So if they're really upset, but they're not saying it, and then you in turn get upset because you think that they're not listening to you, that's not going to help them open up. That's not going to help them be more authentic. It's kind of going to lead them to believe the best thing to do in this situation is end the conversation, right? They're unhappy, they're uncomfortable, they're thinking about something that they really don't want to think about. They have situations going on that they're not happy about, and now their partner is not happy. So why would they want to be in a conversation like that, right? It's like, I got enough going on over here. You seem angry at me. I'm not willing to say anything at this point, so why even bother? So I think when you're in a relationship where you love the person, you care about the person, you're considering all the things that they're going through, right? I'm not saying don't consider the things that you're going through, but when there is disconnection in the relationship, we kind of have to ask ourselves, what can I do to make this better? What can I do to take the first step? Versus, what are you going to do for me? How are you going to make this better? How are you going to change? That usually does not work well. And I will tell you from experience, if you think that you're going to change someone and you are going to remain the same, it's never going to work. Because that person is constantly going to change. You are constantly going to remain the same, and you are constantly going to be unhappy because you're unhappy to start with. So change things internally first. Do things to make them happy. Once you're happy with the things that you're doing to make them happy, you will most likely see a reflection back that they are doing things to make you happy. Help them feel safe and connected. They will automatically help you feel safe and connected. If you get into situations where you really feel that you've changed internally, you've broken down all your walls, you are authentic and vulnerable, and the person is still not responding, the first thing I would do is ask myself, am I really truly feeling this way? Am I really truly loving? Am I really truly wanting to connect with this person? Or do I have some underlying fear and I'm just trying to sugarcoat it and make it seem like I'm connected, I'm loving, I'm honest, I'm trusting? That will never work. What you're running in your subconscious mind is the thing that the person will pick up on. So if you really feel disconnected, you really don't feel like the person is being honest and you can't trust them, if you try to make up things and say things to let them believe that you're loving and trusting, that's not going to work. So make sure that you really do feel connected, trusting, and loving. Show that person that you feel connected and trusting and loving, and then allow them to show you that they feel the same way, and allow them to do that in their own way. Don't say, I bought you flowers and I expect you to bring me flowers. Maybe that person doesn't really like bringing flowers. Now, I know I was in a situation where I used to get flowers and I really didn't like flowers, and I would be really upset. You know, it's like, wow, I got flowers and I can't stand flowers, right? So that's a battle with me internally. I could have said to my partner, hey, you know, flowers are great, but they're not really my thing. That would have relieved a lot of the tension, right? Now, my partner is not buying me flowers. My partner is not trying to do something to make me feel loved that I don't like. Now my partner is not wasting their money buying something that I don't really care for. But because of the stress, because of the lack of authenticity, the lack of vulnerability, it seems like it's much easier to just be okay with the flowers, right? You know, I don't like them, but I'm just gonna pretend that I like them because this person went out of their way. This person took time. This person spent money. In some cases, hey, maybe they're spending your money. Maybe they spent your money, or they took money out of a joint account to do something for you. So you feel obligated, or you feel like you should. And that's never a good thing. Never feel like you should. Speak your mind, be loving, be kind, be considerate, but let the person know. Maybe the next time the person will get you something that you really, really like. Say, you know, I like candles. Candles last much longer than flowers. Maybe get me a candle. Now the person knows, right? So the person is going to want to get you the thing that you like, the thing that you love. They're trying to make you happy. If they don't know what makes you happy, you don't tell them what makes you happy, you can't expect them to just automatically do this thing that you like. Right? We tend to get in situations where we expect our partner to know what we want. You should know what I want. And yes, I did raise my voice a little to say that the way I said that, because we know as men, no offense to our women, as men, women want us to know exactly what they want and need, but they won't tell us. So one of the things that I really hear a lot in my coaching business when I talk to couples is the women will say, "Oh, you should know." And guys will sit there like they just started the relationship today. It's like, wait a minute, you never told me that. You could have told the guy that 5 times in 5 years, and the guy will literally sit there in front of you and say, "Hey, you never told me that." Now, that's just a guy thing, right? So if you're dating a guy and you know that, and maybe you didn't know that prior to listening to this, but if you know that, you kind of think, or you'd think, that you want to do things to help the guy do the thing that's going to make you happy. So if you tell the guy and then 2 months down the road, he doesn't remember, that's another situation. But I feel like making it a game is more fun. It's more loving. It keeps you more connected. If you're in a relationship with someone that always forgets things, and you know that they always forget things, I think the loving and the considerate and the kind thing to do is kind of remind them. Remind them how to remember, instead of shaming them, guilting them, making them feel uncomfortable because they have this thing going on that you consider a flaw. Everyone has flaws. Everyone has things that they don't pick up on or don't get or don't do or don't like. And that's kind of the beauty of the relationship. You have your things, they have their things, and you come together. You agree. You make little exceptions here and there. Overall, you have good compatibility, but those little things that you just know that your partner has or does or says or thinks, and you're still there for them without judgment and shaming, those are the things that make relationships really, really strong. So if you are in situations where the person is away or they're deployed, or maybe it's just a long distance relationship because of travel for work and you're in different states. I've been in situations with coaching couples where one of the spouses is away during the week. They come home on the weekends. They work in a different state, or they fly back and forth. Believe it or not, there are some couples where one partner flies out of the country, comes back on a Friday or a Sunday, stays for a few days, and then goes back out. Or, of course, military couples, you know that your partner is away for very long lengths of time. So when you're in those situations, it's really, really important to let that person know how much you care, how much you want to be connected, how much you love them, how much you trust them. And the only way we can do that is to remain honest, remain open, tell them what we want, tell them what we need, tell them how we feel, and keep that connection going. If they're not responding to you with what they think, feel, want, need, ask them. Say, "Hey, I've said a lot about what I want and what I need. What are some examples of what you want? What are some things that you need? What kinds of things will help you trust me? What kinds of things do you want from this relationship?" Right? Don't get backed into a corner where you're thinking, "Oh, well, this person should know what I want." Don't ever do that. That's basic level 1 lack of communication. And I've been there. So I know how hard it is. I know how difficult it is, especially considering attachment style and childhood and all of the things that I could go into that I won't go into. There are many things that keep us from saying what we want. And that's all based on wanting to keep the relationship strong. And the polarity of that is, or the dichotomy of that is the exact thing that will help our relationship fail. So stay honest, stay open, have lots of fun, ask your partner what they want and what they like and what they need. And that should guarantee that you have a great relationship right now and for many, many years to come. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to hop over to school.com and check out our many group options, you can step over there, sign up for the community, and get involved with other couples. And then also I do a coaching call every week. Right now, all of that is free. So drop a note below, send the podcast an email if you have questions, and please tune in for the next episode.